Hello and welcome back to another video tutorial here at Geekatplay Studios. My name is Gary Miller. You know, one of the coolest new features or upgraded features in View 7 is the Ecosystem Painting tool that you will find right up here in your menu bar. And View 6 had it, but it had some limitations to it, and I think the good folks over at Eon put a lot of attention and creativity into improving it. And over at Geekatplay, under the View 7 tab here, tutorial number 9, Amy Chopin goes into creating a good introductory tutorial showing what it does, what some of its possibilities are, and I never was familiar with this tool in View 6, so when I saw this I learned a lot and started playing around with it, and I'd like to do a tutorial today on getting really creative with this new tool. And I just got a simple scene with an infinite plane and a wagon here that I got from Geekatplay Studios. And I want to just show you some of the cool things that you can do with the new Ecosystem Painter. First thing I want to do is enable brush, because I'm going to be painting with a brush. And I'm going to come down here and add a plant. Now I'm going to use an ivy bush here by Walter Beck. And give me a minute for this to load. Okay. I'm going to leave my brush radius at the default 20, brush flow at 100. I want to uncheck limit density because I want to make it as dense as I possibly can. For brush radius and brush flow, I'm going to check both of these because I'm going to use a pressure sensitive pin. And the rotation, I'm going to bring it down about 30 or so and enable all axes. Now, I created this simple scene of just a wagon in an empty field because when I've been back in the south, I've seen many large meadows and stuff with lots of overgrown bushes and ivy and kudzu and anything that's old and abandoned out there, it just becomes entangled with plants. So I thought a good demonstration for this would be a wagon. So with my brush, and you can use your mouse and get just the exact same results as what I'm doing with a Wacom tablet. So just with my pen, I'm just going to start painting on my wagon wheel and start enveloping it with this ivy here. Now, one of the things you might notice is wherever I paint, I will paint ivy. And that is not what I want. Now, I do have some hidden structures in the background which I will reveal later. But View is painting on them, and that's not what I want. I only want it to paint on the wagon wheel. So I'm going to select my wheel. I'm going to come up here and check this restrict to selected objects. Now when I paint, I will only paint on the wagon wheel or whatever object that I have selected. And you'll notice up here the instances start growing pretty quick as I'm painting on it. And this is far more stable and responds so much better than it did in View 6. They've really done a lot of great improvements to it. I'm going to select my plane, and I'm just going to paint some ivy along on the ground here. I'm going to move this out of the way, come to a top view. Okay, that looks good. Let me do a quick render. I'm going to check my preview window. Notice the results. That looks really real, like ivy is just growing up the spokes of this wheel, and wrapping itself around and entwining itself around the object. It's a little thin, so I'm gonna have to go back and paint a little more. And this is such a cool tool because it really allows you to get creative. And it's one of the most fun tools that I think Vue has, because there's a lot of interaction as opposed to just creating an ecosystem and populating it. This really allows you to bring out your creativity in some really good ways. Okay, I'm happy with that. I think I'll grow a little bit more up here. I think I'll increase my brush flow to 150. It'll paint a little quicker. Yeah, these instances are growing much faster now. I like that. Click on the wheel again. Paint some more here. All right, let's do a render. Okay, so that's what Vue gives us. But I'm not entirely happy with that. I think we can take it to a far greater degree of realism. So I'm going to come back to my ecosystem painter. I'm going to come over here to the color tab here, and I'm just going to create a light colored, slightly desaturated brown. Click OK. And now what I want to do is I'll drop this down to 100. I'm just going to go back over these areas and do a little bit more painting. I remember growing up, neighbors had ivy in their yard, around the house, and not all of it is perfectly bright and green. There's lots of dead or dark brown and light brown ivy leaves, probably because it's exposed to the sun or gets watered a lot, and with the water sitting on the leaves, the sun burns them, and they're not all perfectly green. So I'm going to add these brown ones in here, give it a render. Let's see what it looks like. So here's our render, and you see just the effect of that, changing that one parameter of the color adds a much greater element of realism by showing different fluctuations in the color of the leaves. And that looks really good, but I'm still not happy with it. I want to add some more creativity. And now look at the brown color that I have selected for this ivy material. I'm going to close the Eco Painter out. Now I'm going to come back to it. Every time you close it out and come back, the color resets itself. So that's something you definitely don't want to forget, like I have several times. I want to add another element to this. I'm going to come over here to plants, and with the flowers that comes with Vue 7, I'm going to choose these colorful bonnies, and I'll click OK. I'm going to select my colorful bonnies, and I think I might want to start off with bringing their scale down a little bit. And I'm just going to plant a few here and do a quick little test render, see how large they are. I might have made them a little bit too small, and I can't even see them, so I did make them a little small. I'm going to undo that. I'm going to increase their scale a little bit, and I'll just paint another little patch. And well, one thing I want to do is I want to select only the selected item, so I'm only painting the flowers because I don't need more leaves there. Okay, let's try that. I'm going to render that. Okay, I like that. So I'm just going to paint a few more down here, and then select my wagon wheel. Now for my wagon wheel, I don't want the flowers to be planted anywhere close to being vertical. I want them more perpendicular, facing outwards towards me. So I'm going to increase this direction from surface slider a little bit. And now I'll just paint some of my colorful little flowers here on the wagon wheel. Move my preview window out of the way. And let's do a render here and see what we've got. And that is what View gives us. Now that, to me, is very realistic, and I mean, this looks like something that some talented master painter would come up with. I mean, just the colors and the vividness on just using these two little plants and adjusting the colors a little bit. This tool really opens up so many new boundaries for putting your ecosystem on literally any surface, and no matter how it is arranged in the scene. You put it on wagon wheels, you can put them on light poles, telephone wires. If you've ever been to Louisiana and seen how the kudzu completely encompasses and envelops anything that's in its way. I mean, I've seen entire cars enveloped in in kudzu, and I guess if it's left long enough, ivy would do the same thing, and nearly covering buildings and any single surface that you put in your scene, you can put an ecosystem on it. And this is just one of the most cool features of View 7. Well, I've arranged a couple of other things here in my scene, very basic. And I'm going to do a render of this, and let's see what we got. So something so simple as just a wagon in the in a scene with a couple terrains and an old building can really open up a whole new world of possibilities with this ecosystem painter tool. And if you would create a scene like this and save the Z depth image, use the lens blur filter in Photoshop and add a little depth of field and focus in on that wagon wheel. This is a super new tool, and I can't wait to see some of the great looking things that people are going to start doing with it. So this is getting you familiar with the ecosystem painting tool and just showing you some possibilities on how to take just the tool, add a few elements to it, and really create some great looking realism to incorporate into your render. So that's it for this tutorial here at Geekatplay Studios. My name is Gary Miller. Have a good day.